With
Thank you very much. I apologize.
I'll start the recording. If you don't have the record function, you can also just record with your phone, the screen, like any method functions you can record with OBS. It doesn't need to be the embedded Zoom. So I'm guessing it's at @gsimpson_Idiane. Can you add the @ please?
Yes.
Just so it matches. I'm just basically going through the motions of what we were told to.
No, you're fine.
And we've got some time. So essentially, well, Greg, do you want to start? Do you want to basically make your pitch? Why should we vote for you?
Sure. I've been building apps on EO. I deployed my first smart contract 30 days after the EOS chain went live. I've since had some issues with EOS, and it was mostly around governance. I didn't approve of the way governance was being run. It seemed very imbalanced, very unfair, and I am very interested in Eden as a way to correct that. And I am a block producer on the UX network, which is a sister chain. And I would like to get back more involved with EOS if the governance issues are straightened out and it's just done a little more cleanly. I'm very excited, and that's my pitch. There it is.
So what would you do with 1,000 EOS?
I would.
That's the idea. Whoever wins this gets 1,000 EOS. That'd
be pretty cool to say. And especially with the run up we've just had in the last couple of weeks or week, I think that should go to some sort of incentive for an app builder. You know, EOS is an amazing product, but it's an operating system. Nobody buys an operating system. They buy the applications that run on the operating system. They need Word, they need Excel. And so I think some sort of contest or ability to lift up and get incentivize those people who are actually app builders to go get building on EOS.
How would you do that?
Just swing a contest, $1,000 for the best pitch. You know, get your startup in front of us, talk to us about it. You know, I know that Block One has done many of those in the past, and they've had varying degrees of success. I just think it needs to keep happening. You got to keep getting the word out that we want people to build on our chain.
Oh, hello. We've got another person. Hello, Milenko?
Yeah, that's me.
All right. I'm the appointed volunteer for the room, so I'll redo quickly. Your name seems to be good. I'm guessing that's your Telegram handle.
Yeah.
Do you want to participate, or do you want to simply observe and vote, or would you like to actually win this room if you could?
Well, I see that at least there's a very good candidate here, and that's a Mr. Greg. I don't know Mr. Creamer, so I would like to hear the case of Mr. Creamer, but in principle, I would like more to hear and vote.
So you don't want to put your name forward? I just need to note it.
Okay, I don't want to put my name forward.
Okay, so you would still vote, but not put your name forward. So Greg just gave his pitch. Creamer actually said he does not also want to put his name forward. So in order to reach a consensus in this room, we would need to have 3 people essentially vote for either Greg or myself. By default, I'll participate so that it doesn't go by default to Greg. What's the other thing? Note that we're in room number 16. I forgot to mention that before. So when we go after this to vote, we would write in the channel room 16, and then whether we vote for a person or we abstain from voting, which is also a vote. That would be a vote no. And Greg, do you want to give your pitch again quickly so that Milenko can hear it and determine? He already basically gave his support to you, but so that he can hear it as well.
Yeah.
Well, he kind of knows. He's been following our project for some time, Edna, and Milenko. I just basically said that one of the reasons we sort of migrated away from EOS to the sister chains was governance. And I thought it was run very poorly. I mean, the product, as far as technically, ran amazingly. It was great. It was a great, it is a great chain, and it's got the most traction in the EOS IO world, but the governance was messed up and they could never really get it sorted. And I think this is really amazing that they're trying to do it. And if I would win, I would take that 1,000 EOS and incentivize somehow the app builders, get them building, get more pitches going on, get more ideas. You know, blockchain is so amazing, and I don't think we've even scratched what it is truly capable of. So there's my pitch. That's basically what I'm about. I'm excited just to see this happening. You know, forget winning. That's all right, whatever. You know, for me, it's like, I just think that it's really tremendous that they're really trying to do something and improve that. And if in fact it works well, I'll be the first to send us back, you know, into mainline EOS. Why wouldn't we? You know, if we can support multiple chains, why wouldn't we?
And you say that, okay, you would be investing the money. This is all mock-up, so I'll be like kind of also trying to do it. So how would you actually be spending the 1,000 years? So you're saying in development of app builders? But
I'd hold a little Shark Tank. I'd hold a mini Shark Tank and say, hey, if you want to build on EOS, this will help get you started a little bit, right? So come on down and pitch us. And if you're not, you know, currently building an app on EOS IO, you qualify. You know, I'd just run a little mini Shark Tank on Zoom and let other people who have been around the EOS economy for a while sit there and vote. And we vote the winner and give them the money. Here, do your startup thing.
Would you market that Shark Tank thing? How would you get people to actually know that you're holding a mini Shark Tank, and then how would you run that Shark Tank?
As soon as you sit on EOS, on the EOS Telegram chat and say, hey, I've got 1,000 EOS for a contest, you'll get people to pay attention. I don't think marketing would take any money or, you know, require much effort to get the word out there. The other thing is we could call up Matt and get a video made, you know, just kind of, here's the rules, here's how it's going to roll. Go watch the video and then apply, make your video pitch, and, you know, pick a few judges. I don't think that's that hard.
How would you keep them accountable to actually building what they say they're going to build? And 1,000 EOS, even at the current price, is really insignificant in terms of, I mean, you've built an application. If I give you $10,000 today, can you build an application? Probably not.
No.
$10,000 is not very much.
But it's a start.
What would you expect for $10,000? Or let's say EOS even goes to $15. What would you expect for $15,000?
I would have to say that you should have something running and at least one feature that you describe of your app. You know, obviously you're not going to build an app for 15 grand. It's just not going to happen unless you're building another dice game or something we don't really need. And I'm not dissing the dice builders. It's fine. But you know, as a founder, I can tell you every penny helps. And when you're going, you may not be able to do it just on this award. It may not produce an entire app, but it helps. And, you know, I think accountability is something that's very challenging, and it takes a lot to be a founder. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that goes into it. A lot of your own funds. You borrow, beg, borrow, steal, scrape, and I think that I don't know how. I honestly don't know. Maybe somebody that we bring on as a judge has a better idea than I do, but I really don't know how to hold somebody accountable. They should show some work for it. You know, I think that would be important. It's possible too, we could dribble it out. Give them rent money for, you know, 10 months.
Yves, since you also said that you would participate, what would be your pitch, or what would you?
I would actually prefer not participating, but we had talked about this before because we knew we might not get 100 people. We're currently building a crowdfunding platform, which is essentially Gitcoin. Do you know of the Gitcoin model? The quadratic funding matching pools?
Yeah, I know you with EOS Asia working on the.
If by default we win, we will take the 1,000 EOS and we'll put it in the matching pool. And so essentially we don't determine who gets the 1,000 EOS. It's the community that determines who gets 1,000 EOS, leveraging the platform itself. So there's an actual means to determine who gets it, and it's a democratic means. So the quadratic funding model incentivizes those who build to have larger communities. So a one donation large doesn't get matched as much as multiple small donations. And so the monies, if you're aware of how the quadratic funding works, very simply, if there's a project that received $10, or there's two projects that receive $10 each, but one of them receives it from one donor. So Greg gives $10 to Milenko's idea, and the other one is 10 people donate $1 each to Eve's idea. The Eve's idea, both of them receive $10, but Eve's idea, seeing as it came from more people, actually get matched much greater than Greg's idea. And so what we would do, if I won by default, I would just put the 1,000 EOS in the matching pool from the crowdfunding platform, which is expected to go live end of July, early August. So that would be
Is MBlue involved in this?
No.
Okay.
No. So this is a grant that we received from Block One. So EOS Asia and EOS Nation received a grant from Block One to actually develop the platform. So we are developing the platform right now. We're working with Gitcoin. So Gitcoin, Kevin Owaki and his team have been building their Gitcoin platform now for 2 years, or 2 years and a quarter. They're now running their 9th round. So with every round, they've received more matching. So Consensus is the main matcher for Gitcoin. In our case, Block One has committed to being one of the initial matchers, as well as the actual grant provider for the development of the platform itself. So once the platform goes live, then we would have matching funds that would go in a pool. The basic mechanism is that you donate to a project yourself. So you like Greg's idea, you send him 5 EOS directly. At the end of the round, through the quadratic funding algorithm, we determine how many of those matching funds that are put aside get attributed to whom, to which projects. That gets done automatically.
I love it. I love it.
And that's where we would put the matching pools. So Greg, the reason why I was asking is, would you, if I would give you my support, I give you my vote, if you leverage something that already exists instead of going through trying to create something else, would you give your 1,000 EOS into the matching pool?
Yeah, absolutely.
And essentially, you don't even need to run anything. You don't need to determine who gets the funds. You put it in the matching pool, and the platform itself determines, and the community itself determines through the quadratic method.
It's a great idea, and you've got my vote right now, so we can quit.
Oh, you're voting for me instead?
Yes.
I was saying I would vote for you. I was saying I would vote for you if you go on the platform of you're going to donate, because that's essentially what you wanted to do.
What Yves is saying is he would vote for you, and I would also vote on you just to test the process. Because if you say that you would go along with basically with what Yves is telling, let's see, because I guess for Yves it will be much easier to win this next round, and I want to test how the next round will follow for you if you're proposing to donate on Yves' cause.
You could actually run my platform. Well, it's your platform. Essentially, what you said is the same thing. I just
didn't have the right mechanism to achieve it.
I'm giving you the output. So you could go to the next round and say, listen, we had a couple of people in our group. They're building the platform. Here's what the platform is. I would take the 1,000 EOS and give it as a matching pool in the platform. And then, as Milenko said, we would see whether or not the process itself works, or whether or not you change your platform as you go up the ranks.
And decide to invest it in Etna.
It'd be interesting. Yeah, well, obviously he wouldn't say that, right? So this is where nobody would say that. But then whether or not that actually happens at the output is part of the process as well.
That's
I'd be okay with that.
Sure. Again, I'm interested in how this is all going to shake out. That's the main reason I'm here today.
So if you do
outcome.
go to the next room, could you also then take up the volunteer responsibilities of just making sure that people have the right name? They should, because they've all gone through the first room. The one downside though is that you can't record. Do you have a phone that you can record your screen or something?
It
or
is
OBS
recording
or...
now.
Yeah,
It is
because I'm recording, but you're not recording. So the person that puts their name forward is supposed to be able to record. But I guess you didn't get the permission.
I think I'm actually getting a recording. I won't know until I leave the room, and it's going to ask me where to store it.
Oh, okay. So you did click record?
I did, and
Oh, okay. Well, then we should be fine, because that's the only thing.
popped
Is if
up
you
the
put your name
settings,
forward,
and I
you're
see the little red
supposed to be able
dot.
to record.
So I think I've got the recording. Yes.
Okay. I'm good with that. You would get my vote if that's what you say that you would do with the funds.
Well, I'm not one to change my mind much or lie much. So yeah, I would do that.
That'd be, like Milenko said, that's a good test of the process as well. I like that part.
Kind of is. What's your campaign promise, and are you going to keep it?
You're gonna keep it, whether or not you. So do you? Okay, then. Do you have any questions as to how that crowdfunding platform works, so that in the next round we augment your chances of winning the next round because you've got more information and you can sell the next group on what that idea is?
Well, I know who to ask, right? I can find you on Telegram. I got you.
But you won't be able to while you're pitching in the next room, right? You're gonna be put in another group. Do you have any questions so that you can sell essentially the idea of what that crowdfunding platform is and that you'd be donating to it?
I think I have no problems with that. I understand smart contracts. I know how you would write something like this. I understand the code behind it and the fact that it's sort of trustless. And I really love that idea of not letting a large donor kind of own the fund. That's a beautiful thing. It's democratizing is what it is. So hopefully that's enough to pitch it to the people to say, hey, I'm not in it to get Greg some cash. I'm in it to make sure the apps get built.
So if I would ask you, how is the solicitation process? Would you know how to answer that? For example, how are you going to donate the 1,000 EOS on this initiative?
Well, I would park it in an account, multi-sig it, and wait for the platform to arrive, and then we would distribute it to the platform. I'm assuming they're going to let the code accept funds, or a wallet somewhere accept funds for the core fund.
So no,
we
will not. Well, yes and no. There's a KYC component. So prior to the general platform essentially enables people to donate money to anybody they want, right? So you put up your idea up, you put up your application or whatever it is you want to build, Milenko or Creamer can donate to you directly. We're facilitating that process. However, after the round's closed, prior to determining who gets what matching, which we don't determine, but the algorithm determines, but prior to actually sending the funds, we need to KYC the recipient. We have no choice. So let's say you actually got funds and people donated to you, you got whatever amount of EOS that people sent to you directly, you get that automatically. There's no KYC process on that end. But prior to me, let's say your share of the matching pools is an extra 1,000 EOS or whatever it is. Prior to me sending that 1,000 EOS, I need to KYC you to make sure that you are who you are, because I'm effectively sending you money. I'm becoming the money service transmitter in that particular transaction.
Got it.
In order to have, and so the question was, could you send the 1,000 EOS that let's say that you would win in this process, could you send it to a contract beforehand so that it's in the matching pool? I'm not allowed to be a custodian. So I can't, so EOS Asia and us cannot receive any EOS prior to the actual output and hold them, because then we become custodians of funds, and being custodians of funds in our jurisdictions is again, we'd be a money service transmitter. So we essentially need to partner with matching folks, know that they're going to match, and then at the end, when we do the actual determination of who gets what, it's a simple, they send to a smart contract, which automatically redirects. Now, that's possible if we deal with large donors. It's not possible if we're dealing with individuals. I can't communicate with 1,000 different people that say, instead of giving my one EOS directly to Greg, I want to put my one EOS in the matching pool. That's not scalable. We can't do that. So the matching pool side of things, it will be large enterprises. It'll be block producers. It'll be the Googles, the Amazons, the block ones. It'll be large entities similar to Gitcoin. So it's the same process as the Gitcoin. The small donations, they're just direct. Gotcha. We don't need to get involved in that. There's no KYC. There's no. So in this case, you would actually have to hold on to the funds. You would need to communicate with us. Obviously, we're already here, so I already know. But for other people, Milenko, no, it would not be as simple as just sending money to the matching pool. There is no matching pool account to be sent to where the funds would be held. So it does require coordination from the custodian side of things. So in this case, Greg, you would hold off on the funds, whether you MSIG them or not, you would hold them off. And then at the very last minute, when we actually do, we know we coordinate, you sent a contract and it automatically sends out, so that we are never custodian of the funds. We're facilitators, which we can, but we can't be custodians. We can't hold on to the funds for any period of time. So even the block one funds, block one holds the funds until we say this account needs to be matched this much. It goes into a smart contract, automatically gets redistributed after we do our governance checks and balances. So the only part that we play in the process where we can stop is whether or not we determine that there was a Sybil attack, or whether or not there was collusion, or whether or not it meets the definition of public good. So Sybil attack is, I mean, pretty easy to explain, is whether or not we see that multiple accounts, essentially essentially instead of sending 1,000 EOS, they just split up to 1,000 accounts, sent one EOS each, so that they can get more funding matching at the outset. And really, there's no plan on building anything. So they're the ones who funded themselves to essentially extract money out from the matching pool. That we can prevent people from doing. So we've got tools for this, and we're developing tools for this. The other thing is a collusion. So instead of Greg sending $10 directly, he asks his 9 friends to send $1 each because it's his idea and he gets matched again. We have ways to prevent this, or we have ways to try and lower that risk. We know that's going to happen. And then the other thing, again, the public goods, is whether or not it matches the definition of what a public good is. That's still up in the air, but that's one thing that Gitcoin does that we're looking at replicating as well. And that's the governance process that happens prior to assigning the funds, but after the funds have been sent directly from users. So if you're familiar with Gitcoin, it's the exact same process, no difference. And
I'm not, and I've reached another epiphany here that I should not be the one to pitch this. Clearly, you understand the process, you understand what is being built, and I think I don't want to do it an injustice, because I believe in what you're doing. I think this is very, very good way to approach helping developers get ahead. And for today's exercise, I think you need to go forward and pitch it into the next room, not Greg. I will not do it justice. And Edna doesn't matter, and my smart contract experience doesn't matter near as much as what you're talking about. I consider what you're doing to be very necessary. I'd love to see you get the 1,000 EOS, for this project. You should. So, yeah, can I take my name down? You can. Well, okay. How can we strengthen this pitch then? So I'll let you in on a little secret. We're gonna match this anyways. So whatever, if it's 1,000, we're gonna match it for another. Actually, we're gonna match it more than 1,000. How can we strengthen this process then to increase the chances that this idea actually goes forward? I believe that I like the idea that it's somebody else that's pitching it, because it's not that it's conflict of interest.
So that's where my question actually fits in, because I was going to ask, if you get elected, Yves, would you still promote your idea?
Of course.
So wanting to go to the next round? Because, for example, now you stood back and didn't want to. But if you go to the next round, would you do the same, or would you actually go all for it?
What do you guys think? Do you think it's better if I try to get somebody else to run on that platform, or that I run on that platform myself? I don't know.
I'll tell you, I know I've been pitching venture capitalists and high net worth investors for over 2 years now for $2.5 million. And your pitch is smooth. I wouldn't let anybody that I had just explained my business to and my entire business model and the 3 years of work we put into design and development, I wouldn't let them pitch it. I'd pitch it. And I think you need to pitch this. Nobody knows it like you know it. And if there are questions that come forward, I'll be a deer in the headlights and you won't. So I don't think it gets stronger by getting somebody else to run for you and do the work for you. I think the strength comes that investors want to trust. People want to feel trust. That we want to trust our elected officials. And that stems from conviction and what they believe in. And nobody's going to believe in your idea like you do.
What if I hear a better idea in the next group or a following group? What if somebody has a better pitch?
That's life, man. If there's a better pitch, the better pitch. Do you guys
prefer if I vote for somebody else if I hear something that's better than my default idea?
Well, you would have good judgment of that.
Or do you want me to stick to my guns and prevent the group from going up if they don't vote for that idea? Because I know some people will do that. So that is another strategy. And that was my strategy. I talked to this with Dan at first as well. If there was no good contestants in the room, one of the strategies is to convince the other people not to let the group go up so that you actually bow out a full group of people. Is that something that you want me to do if I think that there's going to be, if it's a stalemate and either it's me or somebody else and the other person, for some reason, I think they're nefarious or whatever, I doubt it, but is that something you would want me to do if I go forward?
I think it's a judgment call. You have to feel that out yourself. You have to figure that out for what you're going to be in the room. I won't be there with you. So I'm trusting by giving you my vote. I'm saying, hey, I bet you're the kind of guy that would do the John Wayne, do the right thing, you know? So again, just go do the John Wayne.
Go do the John Wayne. I think I know what that means. Yes. Creamer, what do you think? You've been quiet, which is okay. You don't need to say anything.
I think it's a good idea. I have no question. I just want to see how Edenos works.
Do you guys have any plan on running in the real Eden, or do you have any feedback? So I'm in the original Eden members, the Genesis members group, 18 of us. From what you know so far, there's been a lot of issues that have been brought up because they affect, I mean, they're very localized to, let's say, Western group right now, but certain things like people need a paid Zoom account, well, that's expensive, or the 10 EOS membership price, that prices out a lot of people that might not have. And as the price of the EOS goes up, it prices even more people. Do you have any feedback on what currently you've heard about Eden that should be relooked at?
I don't have anything. I've mildly followed it, you know, and I haven't heard some of the things that you've heard. I really don't have any constructive words for you.
The only one I had was the one with the price, because I'm half Venezuelan and I know, for example, that EOS Venezuela is doing a whole lot, like in real world. It's one of the ones that are doing the most.
Yeah, it's amazing.
In day-to-day life. And I know that the 10 EOS is highly restricted for them. I do know that each region will have its own, will be able to set its own price. But then again, I think that maybe in those countries, there are people who are bilingual, who are very smart and are of value towards the Western side. And they still cannot participate. I know those are like very small, very improbable, but in the end, there are a lot of bilingual people, and there are a lot of bilingual people who are poor. So, and who would want to participate in the Western side. But I understand the fact that you need to mitigate attack vectors.
So one idea that was proposed is to leverage the crowdfunding platform that we're building, which will have Sybil resistance ingrained in, and have an ongoing matching pool that is essentially to pay for Eden membership for those who can't afford it. But they go through the Sybil resistance, the KYC process in the pool, so that we end up knowing that if there's money being matched to those people, that they're actually real people, but they didn't end up paying for, because there's no cost to participate in the crowdfunding platform. That's one idea that was brought up.
Okay.
Um,
Well, I think the vote goes for you, Yves. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Greg, you back down, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Completely unrelated question. You have a block producer in a call, in a private call right now. Is there anything you want to say, or any questions, concerns, comments, feedbacks? Go for it.
When bullish, no kidding.
That's not my product.
Exactly.
And I wouldn't be able to answer if I didn't know the question, if I didn't know the answer.
It's a joke. Let's see. Poof. That's a good opportunity.
Sorry, say that again.
Sorry?
I couldn't hear both of you spoke at the same, and I didn't hear what you asked.
I didn't actually ask anything. I don't have a very good question. Maybe when will we do everything EOS episode, something like that? Some content again. I know that you're very busy with it. I know that you're the one that generates the most content, or at least in the things that are content.
So likely soon. So the platform that we're talking about, the crowdfunding platform, actually has a name, which I'm not telling you right now, but the name is going to be released in about 10 days with a front facing page. So the development has been ongoing for a while now. And I would imagine that after that gets released, that we'll be doing a show to talk about it, and to talk about the brand, and to talk about the name, and to talk about the crowdfunding platform in more detail. And that we're aiming to have that released. We're working right now with a crypto writer so that they have the information, they can release it. We're aiming to have that by next Friday. Whether or not it's live by next Friday, or we give it a couple of days, and maybe the 25th or the 26th. So give or take 10 days. So maybe the next Everything EOS episode will be on that, and it'll be in 2 weeks or so.
Okay, then I have another question, and that's regarding at the very beginning, when basically Genesis times, EOS New York was doing this for people who organized meetups. They would sponsor it with, I think, up to $250. Is there any way or that somebody might take that up again? Because, for example, in my case, I would want to organize some meetups.
So were you aware of our ambassador program? We have 16 ambassadors throughout the world.
Yes.
And
so, for example, I'm in Spain. Okay,
so we used to, I mean, the first year we hosted one meetup every 2.8 days. We hosted 112, 113 meetups in the first year. So that EOS New York, I'm not sure how many, but clearly not as much as that. If you're actually interested, come to the EOS Nation channel and just ping me or ping Stefan, who takes care of the ambassadors. We have not done meetups in a long time because nobody's been wanting to do meetups in a long time. In a bear market, that's just not really a thing.
I want to. I actually would. Do you have some content, some PowerPoint presentations that I can use as a base? I've done the Block 1 certification programs. I've even done a blockchain course from Blockchain Spain, the School of Blockchain Spain. So I do have my basis, and I actually was also going to do it myself. But if you have a program, if you have content, I will do that. So I will.
Well, then come in the EOS Nation group and ping me, and then I'll ping Stefan. We'll put you in touch, and we can get something going.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
Greg,
just to I do. Just to confirm the last step, I go back to the demo Telegram room, write in room 16 and your Telegram handle, right?
Yeah, so you would write room 16 space voting for whatever at Yves Larose, all in one word.
Got it.
And I guess I need to vote for myself. That is the means by which I accept. And so Creamer and Milenko, if you agree, or if you don't agree, that's okay as well. You would either vote for, I think the only two options would be for Greg or myself, and or no. And no is an abstain vote, essentially.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your confidence. I'm going to try and get 1,000 EOS for the crowdfunding platform and match it if we do.
Do it, do it, do it.
Now, what I'm not sure on is, I believe I just closed this. I think that's the case. There's no time or anything. Anything else? If not, I'm gonna leave, and then I guess my recording will start processing on my end.
Well, for me, it was a pleasure meeting you, a pleasure doing this, and let's hope we can change a lot. Let's hope this whole Eden election process of electing representative actually works, and we can bring it on a bigger scale, like on real life, like in Spain, throw some
There's a
politicians
lot
out
of
of their
work to
real
Yeah,
of
no,
their
it's
positions,
good.
shake up the world.
All
Agreed,
right.
and good luck, Yves.
All right. Take care, guys. Nice meeting you all.
Goodbye, bye, Creamer, bye, Simpson.
See you.
Greg.